Okay. So I'm starting a new project. It's an empty one. So I want to use the shared preference name, the one we had used the last time. So I showed the issue of shared preference. So this is shared preferences. That's the name of the app. So I can have all the other details as they are, and then I can finish. So I just need to So even shared preference failed. So allow me to restart my machine again. Seems to have a problem. I need to restart it. So I need to exit. And I think because Nani is there, Nani, it's okay. So let me restart my machine again. Yeah. Hope that you can be able to see my screen. So let me just test everything that is working and run the with the emulator. Yeah, so this is the shared preference app. Now my emulator is okay. Just wanted to confirm that my emulator works so that I don't have a problem with when I'm displaying it. So back to what we want to do, guys, and which is this. Last class, not the previous class, when we did the shared preference, what your app was able to save. And so that's what I want us to do. So maybe some of you had done with me. So we had defined to edit text, edit one. We had also defined edit two and also edit three, right? So those were so we imported that. I'll enter. And then we had also defined a button. And that button, we had called it BTN B1, sorry, just specific to what we had. Here, I can alt enter. 3 edit text and a button. So we went to the design, the layout. This is the layout file. And in the layout file, we had just open it. So we changed, in the layout, we changed this from being the constraint layout, so convert view to linear layout. And then we also changed the orientation and the common attributes to be vertical. So that is what we did. Then now I go to the codes. This is what I have. So the first text view has wrap content. And then the text that I want in here was shared preference. So I said, go to the values and a string. And here you call it string. Sorry, that was a string. Name was a top message, maybe something like that. And this message was supposed to be shared preferences. Shared preference was the message that we wanted at that point. So when I go now to my main activity, instead of having this being the way it is, I just need that to say, sorry, quote at string, and I'm looking at the shared top message, yes. So that's what I want. Then the other property was the ID. Not so important, but maybe we can just add it because we are of course not going to program this. So ID was at, we can call it at ID and give it the name text view only, right? And then we had, what else did we have? Text size. Text size, we had said we stick to that 5 dp. I think there was another property around on align at the top. So Android full colon layout align parent with respect to the parent. So we had layout, yes, layout underscore align this is supposed to be let me see if we say margin top.
So there was no.
We are not given this.
No.
Okay, we can still work without it because the structure is still okay. If you look at that design, it's okay because it's at the top. We can still go with that without making those complications, but they're okay. We look at them. The next one was another text view, and that text view had the wrap content. The ID for it, we had said Android underscore ID at plus ID. We had given it as text view 2, right? And then we had another property, which was supposed to be second message. So we go to string, and this was supposed to be a string name, second message. So this was the message was what? What did we put? I think we had said
simple persistence.
Simple persistence, right? And now we can go to it and say on the issue of Android text, go to second message, right? And then what else did we have? I think we also had text size, full colon text size. We were also going for 35 dp.
Say it was 30.
30, okay, so less than that. 30.
And then the layout width was match parent.
The layout width was match parent. Still okay.
And it had a color of green.
So Android full colon text color. We can use the colors are defined here. So these are the various color. I can decide to use tier 200. Whichever you used is okay. So add color, this one, tier 200. I can use that, still okay. And what else did we have?
That's all.
I think that is okay. I think that is sufficient properties for the text view. Then we now had the edit text. So our design looks like this. This is what we have, and this is now. So what we need is another edit text. So edit text had the wrap content and wrap content. And then we had an ID for it. This one we needed that Android full colon ID at plus ID. And this we had called it something like edit text. Cool. Then we also had some text, some hint that was supposed to be appearing on this. I think That was the only thing. So hint, we need to add it here. And this is maybe string name, hint 1. Then we say this was supposed to be name. So when we come here, we add that property Android full colon hint, and at we are going for hint 1. I think that is as far as we needed. Then the other one was another edit text. Had the wrap content. We need a title for it. We need an ID for it, Android ID, at plus ID, edit text 2. Yeah, and then we also had, what else did we have for it? We had some message as a hint, the email. So here, string name, was it the email or was it the pass? This was the pass, the second one. Hint underscore 2 was the pass. So because one was supposed to enter passcode. So that's what we are supposed to have here, Android full colon hint. That is supposed to be at hint 2. And then we also had what else? What else did we have that was important? I think that's it. Then we also had the third one and the last one, edit text, wrap content. I need an ID for it, Android full colon ID. So at plus ID, we can call it edit text 3. Right, and then we also had the property like the message that should appear should be email. So I can just go to string and say here string name hint 3, and this is supposed to be the email. And now here I add it Android full colon hint, supposed to be hint 3. Right, that I think was as far as we went. Then we had a button. So button had the wrap content, and then we also had what Android has some text in there, which was you can put it string button message, and the button message was supposed to be saved. So coming back here, we have that Android full colon text, and that was supposed to be button message. Then we also had what else? I think the ID for the button, yes, because we need to program it. Android full colon ID, you can just call it at plus ID button. No, we don't have a lot of buttons, so that is okay. And I think that is as far as we went, right? That's as far as we went. That's it. So this is the design is something like this, which I can learn to see how it looks like. So now sharing the app design. So what you are supposed to do here, I think it doesn't look so good. We need to make it unique. So you enter the name, the passcode, maybe something like that. And then you also enter the email. something like that, and then you click save. So what you want is when you click save, you want those details to be put into the shared preference. So I can change this so that instead of having a window wrap content, I put it as being match parent. So let me just change that so that it looks a bit better onto that. So we have edit text, the wing. I change that to be match parent. The wing here, I change that to be match parent. The wing here, sorry, not that, here. I change that to be match parent, so that the design now should be able to take to be yeah. So this is what we had at that point. So you enter those details, and then when you click save, we should be able to have those details saved. That's what we want to do. So I now want to go to the Java code to implement it, to implement that portion. So let us go back to the Java code. So going to my Java code here, main activity. So I've already defined the variables that will store the values. Then I also defined the keys. So remember we said we are using shared preference. Shared preference works with keys and values. So those are the keys that we are defining: public, static, final, string. We define it as a string, and the string we want is my preferences. Which we said we call my prefs. So then we define the other one: public, static, final, string, name equals to name key. And then public, static, final, string, we have phone. That one stores the phone. So we have a phone key. And then we also have public, static, final, string, and we have email, which we said is email key. So now we went to our main, and we tied the edit one. We tied it to find view by ID, r.id. What we are looking for is the first edit text that we have, which we have called edit text. We have called it edit text one. So the edit text that we have one that we call edit text one. So do you call it just edit text or edit text one? Let me just confirm that. This is the one I'm talking about. I want to tie is this one. So it's just edit text. So just use edit text. So it should be dot edit text. This one here. The second one is edit text 2. Find view by ID into bracket r.id. .id. This is supposed to be edit text 2. Cool. Edit text 3 equals to find view by ID r.id edit text 3. So we have now, those ones have been tied. Then we have the button, B1 equals to find view by ID, r.id dot, we called it just the button. Yeah, we just called it the button there. So we column. So now we invoked the shared preference, or we created an init for shared preference, so an object of, so what we had at some point, we had declared, sorry, here, we had also declared, we had also initialized the shared preference. So shared preferences, shared, we called the object shared preferences with small letters, like that. So we need to import this, so Alt Enter, that is what we have. Then now, shared preference, the object can be assigned, shared preferences equals to, we said get shared preferences, get shared preferences. Then we had the my get shared preferences, my, we had initialized it as my preferences, comma, then we had the context dot, the mode was private, we read it, then semicolon. Our object is, we have got, sorry, this is the name. The object is shared preference. So here it should be exactly as that. That's what we are initializing, shared preference. So Alt Enter, so that we can be able to import the context. So now with that, we now invoke the button. So our button B1 dot, now we say set on click listener, so that in case set on click listener, that is supposed to be new view dot on click listener. And now we have the method for it. So let me just put this in the next line so that clarity is there for everybody. So then we have public void on click view v, then the body of that. So if you look at that, it requires Alt Enter for us to import that. Yeah, that's okay. So view. So what do we want when the button is clicked? What we want is that we define a variable string called n, which will be assigned edit1 dot is assigned get the text dot to string, get the text that is there dot, the text is converted to string, right? Then we have the next one, string. The value is variable is ph equals to edit2 dot get text dot to string. Then the next one is string is e equals to edit text 3 dot get the text dot to string. So now, once we have read the values that the user has entered into these values, the next step is for us to be able to create a variable to be able to edit. So shared preference dot editor. Now we create an object called editor equals to shared preference dot edit, like that. So what we are doing here is that we are creating an object type editor, an object called editor of type shared preference editor from that class. So now editor dot put string. So what we want to put is the name, because that is the key. We put n, what our user has entered. Next, edit put string. So here we have the phone, and then what we want is the phone number, PH, semicolon, edit, dot, put string. What we need is email, and then E. And then we can now put a toast message that will tell the user that this has happened. So toast dot make text into bracket. We are calling it for this class, which is main activity dot. This is a context, comma. Thanks for yeah, the message like
Details updated.
Details. Maybe the best word would be details changed. Details changed. Details changed instead of updated. Details changed. Because what happens is that it's still the same. It's still the same. That updating means that the former data is no longer applicable or something. But here, let us be explicit that they have been changed. Dot show. And then semicolon. So that is the whole code. So what I did say is that you run the example. And we can go to a new share. You can see my screen. So let us say I enter the details. And then I enter the passcode. Maybe that is my passcode, the email. Let me say I enter that, and then I say save. So details have been changed, and therefore it has saved. So that's okay. Let us now go and see how they have been saved. So most of you are able to get that. The problem that we had was the issue of now being able to access it. So you make sure that the emulator is the one that is selected. You go to the data, and then the data. And now we look for this app that I have called shared preference. The app I have called it shared preference. So is that shared preference is here. Then I click that, and this is the shared preference here. This is the shared preference. The file is empty. Let me just run it again and see. It's empty. It's still empty. Let me see. Let me see. Let me run it again on the phone. I'm looking for that. Let me see. Can you see that data shared preference? Yeah, here. Shared preference. Hey, how come that you can't be able to see it? What is happening? So when I save the details and I click the back button and I go to the app again, the details have not been shown there. And that's what all of you are experiencing that time. So what I want you to try in that case is this, so that we see what is, if you enter some details and some code and some email, and then you say save, and the details have been saved. If you say back, here, those details should be the ones that are ordered. So something is not working out the way I want. Ah, yes, yes, correct. There's something we are missing in our codes. Yes, we are missing the commit function. Sorry, after this code is written, I need to save those details just before that. So editor.commit. Do you have that in your code?
No.
Yeah, that is what is missing. That's what is missing. So if you run it now and you refresh, you run it with the emulator. So this is on the phone. I enter some details and some email, and I say save. Then you go back and open it. Yeah. Yeah, this one. So now if you open it, you see this is the way it has saved the details. The details that I've just entered. The key, the name key is that, and the email. If I run this app again, so I'm running it on my phone. So if I close this, I close that folder, that file, and now I run it using, I'm running it and save it using different set of details. So John Kamau, passcode, I enter something, email, I enter maybe John at now.com.ac.ke, and I say save. So now if I refresh this again, so I refresh it, I go to the phone data, and I go to the shared preference again, shared preference, this one here. You can see now the details have been updated. This is John Kamau, John at now.ac. So that is the example of what I meant by saying that. So is yours able to work now?
Yeah, yes, sir. Mine is working.
Okay. And if you want to also check that this is the issue, just 1 minute. So I want to share again. And if you check here, so these are the details I entered. And if you check that when I say back, and then I open it again, not back, I think it should be under. Let me see, I want to save some details, some more details. Do I save like that? So when I say save that, if I go here, let me see recent. Yeah, the details are still saved, right? So they're not gone. And if you check now on the drive, you check here. If I deselect it again and then go to shared preference, yeah. So the details are being saved. That's the shared preference example. So works. So now that has worked perfectly well. So any question?
So only the commit that was missing, but the rest
Yeah,
was
yeah,
okay.
it was the commit that was missing. Yes, that's right. You're very right. The commit was the one that was missing. So that's why we were not able to.
Sir, can you show us where editor.commit is?
Where?
Where editor.commit, where do we type it?
At the end, after, just after you have
Before
read
toast.
before the post message, yes.
Okay, thank you.
This one here. Okay, so the next part that I hope that is done is that I want to talk about working with files. I want to talk about working with files, and because this is now shared preference, and I believe you have seen the way we have done it. So just a recap from what we did, we have defined the keys and now assigned values to the keys through the put string. This is a key, the value is the end, of which is supposed to be the value read from the edit text and so on. So that is the idea of shared preference. And as you can see with shared preference, the moment I update and the amount of data that I can store is not a lot. So with that in mind, I want us to go to another type of storage called working with files. If there is no question, that is, but if there is, I would be more happy than to respond to it.
So we tried
Yes.
that PhoneGap, the application which was in PS app. We tried that, but it was still giving that error.
So I'll go for that. I'll also go for that. Maybe I'll also show that Rita.
Okay.
Maybe even if not today, but I'll go to it because we need to look at that as well. So
yes.
it's okay. I know there is a problem from you guys, but it should be possible to do.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm going for it. So I would want us to look at that now. So I want to go to the issue of internal storage. Storing it on file, storing data on file. That's what I want to do, to go to.
So, sir, we can close our shared preference application.
Now we are going for another example, so it's okay.
So we can close it, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
Sir, can we still edit in this shared preferences that it can work in both of them, or it can't?
Can you still?
Like for this shared preferences, we did it like through that my prefs.xml opened, so only some data could show. So can we do it on the same file? So both of them, like in the local, it can save, and also in this, it can save using the same file. Or we, or we can.
I mean, you can do the same data. You can, that data that you've saved, you can save it on a shared preference or save it on a file. No problem. It's possible.
So the same file can be used, right?
What do you mean by the same? You can save the same data in those two places. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Okay. So let us talk about that internal storage as our next discussion, working with files, the internal storage. That's what I want to present. Okay. So what I want to talk about is that aspect around the question of the way we work with files. So that's why I'm talking about working with files. That's what I want to look at. Now, and during that class that we had last week, but one, before we did the introduction on shared preference, I did mention that we have two ways in which you can talk of storage, either internal storage, or you can have external. Those are the various ways in which we say. So it's possible when you're working with files, remember now this is the files that we're saying the way you're stored. So Android apps may, and the data that we are saving here is either text data, like the one we have been giving, or binary data. Those are the two items that we are saying. And when we talk of internal storage, what we are saying is that the device internal physical storage that is in the device. Your phone, of course, has its own hard disk, and therefore you can store information there. So it's in the device internal storage. That's what we mean. When we talk of external, what we are referring to as is on an SD card or USB. So maybe you have connected a USB and you want to push some data to that storage. This is what we mean by external storage. So those are the two areas. And as you all know, internal storage is smaller in size, so not as large. So internal storage is generally much smaller than external storage, because here you can even attach through USB to a lot of data. That is the issue. The difference is, another difference you need to know is that for external storage, there are times that this one is always there. Internal storage is always available. This one, somebody may unplug, and therefore it is not guaranteed that it will be there. Internal storage is always available. That is, so apps are stored on internal storage by default. When you create an app or you are it's of course stored in the internal storage. So Android apps that you write and they target Android, if you are targeting to write an app and it targets Android 10, that is API level. If you check the API level 29 from the table that I showed you. So if you are using Android 10 and above, now the issue is that if you are targeting those, they are guaranteed scooped by default. They are scooped by default. What does that mean? Scoop storage, what it means scooped. I'm writing it like this. Scooped storage is a directory. This is a directory on internal. It can be on internal or external storage, where you can have an app that can be able to read and write files. So I can be able to read and write. Can be able to read and write files, and these files are only accessible to that app. That is what we mean by a scooped directory or storage. Storage in which it can be either internal or external, and an app can be able to read and write files only accessible to the app. So if you have an app that would want to share, if an app would want to share files with other apps, it can use the file. There's an API called File Provider API. That's what you can use. So that is what you can use if you want to share it. And I mean, so assuming this is my app A, this app, of course, has its own storage, which is internal, assuming. So the moment I do this, then this storage becomes scooped directory. It's a scooped directory because is an internal or external storage where an app can read and write files only accessible to the app. So A can read that. So if I have another app B, of course, maybe it has its own scooped storage, and this app B would want to access here. What I use is if that app wants to share files with another app, it can use the file provider API. This is an API that can be able to help these apps share data. The beauty of sharing data is based on the fact that you can be able to minimize a lot of usage of data. And that's the idea of what that means. All right. So that is the idea of what internal and storage means. Now, so I want us to go ahead and now be specific on how we can store that. So some questions that I want to hear whether people are following. You know, it is good to be sure that people are listening. Otherwise, if not, I tell them it's a joke. So let us start with the first person I want to ask a question. And the first person I want to ask is who? Let me see whether they're here. Yes, I want to start with Felix. So this question is for Felix. I want you to tell me this. An app may always access the app's files on internal storage. Is that true or false? And if I have an app in the app, it can be able to access the app's files on internal storage. An app may always access the app's files on internal storage. Is that true or false? I see guys are leaving. Felix. Let us go to Dorcas. Dorcas.
Yes.
The question I'm asking is, if I have this app, and this app has some internal storage that it has, will it always have access to that internal storage?
True.
True, correct. The next question I want to ask is, Felix had said true. Hassan Sheikh, if you have app, that is, if you have data stored, like now, let us say this is what is stored. We have called this type of memory what, Hassan? This type of storage where an app stores its data. What have we called it? What have we called it? Name.
Oh, the name.
The name. For this is storage.
The name is internal storage.
Yeah, assuming that it is still internal storage, but there is a name we have used for storage that is used, whether it is internal or external, where an app can be able to read the data. So assuming that I have this app and it has, maybe this is internal storage, it also has some external storage, and it can read either here external or internal. So I'm asking what we call these places where it has stored the data, the directory. See, we have talked about this. Oh,
this was scooped.
It's called scoop directory. So okay. That's what we have. So now the other question I want to ask, to Mariam is this, with respect to scooped storage. If I create an app, yeah, and it has its own scoop directory, is that scoop directory by default, is it by default accessible to another app? Let's say an app C here and want to access this. Is it accessible to it? Yes or no? Mariam.
Yes.
Mariam, why would you say yes? Explain your answer.
You can use the file provider.
Yeah,
The
but that means
API.
that, correct. What you have said, the last statement is right, that you can only use file provider API. So by default, they are not accessible. Yani, if I have an app A, and which has its own scooped storage there, and then I have another app C, which has its own scooped storage. This app, yes, can access that comfortably. This app can access that, but this app C will not by default be able to access the scooped directory in A. It's inaccessible by default. For you to be able to access it, that's why I said you need to use the file provider API.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. How about if now it is an external one? So the question I'm asking now is this. Is it true that an app will always be able to access, will always have access to apps file on external storage? So if it is A, this is internal and this is external. So is it guaranteed that this A will always have access to this in external storage? So this question is meant for Hassan. No, Hassan has answered, I hope. Brandon Odhiambo.
Yes.
We unakumbuka vile tulisema hapa?
No, please repeat the question.
I started talking about storage and I say the difference between internal storage and external storage is that for internal storage, the storage is always there in the device. For external storage, if it's a USB, somebody may remove it, and therefore it is not guaranteed that it will always be there. So the statement that an app may always be able to access that is not true. The app on external storage is, an app may always access the app files on external storage is not true, because things like SD card, I said, somebody may unplug it. If it is a USB, somebody may unplug it. So it's not guaranteed that it will always be there. The last question. This is, now you know, initially the number was 16 and now the number is 12. And it is good that I'm left with non-jokers. I just want non-jokers. So, when card unacheza, let them go. It's okay, because this course is not about cards. It's serious. So the question I wanted to ask is this: if, for example, I had installed an app here in C, right? Let's say I had installed an app here, and then I uninstall the app. So is it the app files that are here, the files that are here that were used by the app, right? Are they deleted? Are they deleted or not? The scoped directory that was in this app. So let us say I installed a Safaricom app. I've installed Safaricom app and then I uninstall it. So the files that were created by that app, are they going to remain there or they are also deleted? Bilal.
I think they still remain there.
They still remain there.
So when you download it again, it fetches your old data.
Yani, if we use the same idea for your need, use the same idea for your desktop application. for the truth is that they will have to be, they will be deleted. How about if they are external? Like say you had stored them on a USB. Are they deleted or not? Miriam?
No, they're not deleted. That's what I
They're not
think.
deleted. Yeah. So that is very correct. You have, let me check again that fact. Let me check again. We have said, I need to correct something. We have said, and I think I'm the one who has even misread media. If it is, here is the thing, uninstalling an app, this is a statement, uninstalling an app will remove the app's files. We remove the app's file on both internal and external. Very sorry, Miriam, I'm the one who has misguided you because I'm looking at it from the angle of SQL. So the files will be deleted. So in all cases, they will be deleted. So let us now go to the practical part. And before we go there, let me explain the issue of how we will start with internal storage. That's where I want us to start, internal storage. So let us deal with internal storage. Now, so when you are writing data and when you are reading, so there is writing and there is you reading the data. So when you are writing to the data, there are two context methods that you use. I now know you know the issue of context.this, like the example we have just finished. We were using the example that you have just used. We say context.mode private. So what I'm saying is that we have two context methods that we can use that are used to write and read. So the first one for that will open a file in internal memory. And then once it opens, it will be able to return, so you can use it for reading. So I'm saying the first one is called open file output. So what does it do? The open file output, what it does, and I hope you are noting some of these ideas, is that it opens a private output file. That is a file that will produce the output in the app's internal directory, and then it returns a file output string. So this is for reading. It returns that. And then what it can throw is that it can throw an exception from your Java of security exception. Security, if you find that you are trying to read it, the second argument is not put as context.mode private. Yani, the mode in which it should be open should be private. If it doesn't find this, then it will throw that you are the exception, because you are trying to access a file that in a mode that is not acceptable. So when it comes to writing, is open file input. So the first one I've said is open file output. Now this is input. So what it does, it opens a private file, input file, in the internal directory. And what it returns is a file input string. So in case you are trying to read a file that does not exist, so what it will throw is a file not found. File not found exception is what is thrown if the file is not found. So remember, the right one is the one that throws that if the file is not found, and the read one will throw a security exception if you try to open it differently. So, and then you can also have write to internal file, you can use the method called write to internal file, right? Method. This is write to internal file method that will specify some job. And then you can also have read to is one method, read from internal file. And this one can be used to return the string that is there. So what we want to do, guys, in this example is that we are going to demonstrate that. Remember, our example is about internal storage here now. So yenye tunafanya saizi is about internal storage, not external storage. That needs to be very clear. And I have said we have two methods, write and read. I have said that for the read method, in case you are trying to access it and you are trying to access a file without context being private mode, you get a security exception. If it's write and you're trying to write and the file is not found, then you have file not found exception. So what we'll do is that I want us to write an application that will be able to write to an internal file and also read from an internal file using these methods, so that we can demonstrate the concept of writing and reading from an internal storage. Questions before we go for the practical?
For the write, which methods are there? There is a file input. Is it open file input or file input?
Is it repeat again?
For the write.
For the right?
Yeah, it is file input or open file input.
For the you're asking whether for the right method the implementation is for the right method. I've said we are using open file input. For the read, it's open file output.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? Kama hakuna, now we go for the practical part, the practical implementation for that example. So that's what I want. So let us write the code for that. We are going to implement that using that example. So I want to start a new application, and I would want you to do that so that I'll give you a question later. Let me start sharing my screen. Actually, I can still implement this on the same example, no problem. I will not even create a new example. I'll just use the same one. The same example. So, but please now notice that it will become more loaded. It is more loaded than the way it was. So here, still on the same example, let us go to the Java part. And we declare a tag that is a constant variable or a final one. Private, final, string, we call it tag. So it will be the tag, and we call it the name, main activity. So that is a tag that we will associate. So that's a new class variable.
So so do you want us to code along with you, or should we wait?
Yes. What else? That is the easiest way, right? Tell me when you are ready.
Sami, I'm ready to continue.
Okay. Yeah. So that is okay. Let us start. So we have declared a tag, which is of type there, which is of that type. So now we can go ahead and implement the part that I want. So I want you to come still inside the method on create and just before the end of it. So that's why I want us to write the code just before the end of on create. So here, because we have said there are many things that can go wrong, you may be trying to write to a file that does, because remember, we are trying to write to an internal file. Maybe the file does not exist or you don't have rights to do to it. So we need to be able to use the try. So we call the method write to internal file. We call that method. So we want to define that method. So write to internal file, we define it. So this is, now I want you to come outside of that method and we create it. So private void write to internal file. Now this method, I have said it throws exception. So, and it throws Okay, so then now in the body, what I need is now we use the file output stream. We have said is output stream if you want to write to it. So output, we declare a variable as output stream equals to open file output. So the file we are creating is to do file. It has the schedule of what one would want to do file. And we want to open it under context as private mode. So then once we open it, we want to go ahead and create a print writer, which is the writer, equals to new print writer as output stream. So we need to import that and enter. So that is okay. Then now we say now we use the writer dot. We wanted to write to it, so print ln. It's okay, print into it. So what we wanted to read to do is maybe study the. This is what I want to do: study the data storage in Android. Right. Writer dot print ln. I also want to go ahead and say help my mom in watering the plants. Right. Dot print ln help work with my brother and feed the dog. Right. Dot print ln wash my cat and dad's car. So once you write, now you close it, right? Dot close. So you close once you're done with writing. So this is the method that we are calling here. Right, internal file. So semicolon. Then now we declare a string. We say string file contents. There is the content in the file. We say we want to read them. So read from internal file. So that means that we will need a method called read from internal file. So once we close that, now we go again and create another method. Private void read from internal file. This one we said also throws an exception. So throws input output exception. So you open it there. So we have file input string input stream, open file, input. So I've said file input stream, not output, input here. We are now specifying file input stream. Input stream equals to open file input, right? Into bracket, the file we want to open is the one that you have just created, to do file. So you will need to import that so that you have it here, input stream. So we build a stream. So once the file is specified which you want to open, then we build a stream. So string builder, we declare a variable as string builder equals to new string builder, not buffer, builder, I'll say builder. Yeah, builder. New string builder. String builder. So then we specify string line separator. What separates the content equals to system dot get property between the line separators. So line dot separator. To read what is supposed to be the line separator. So now we know what separates the line. So try into bracket buffered reader equals to new buffered reader. So we need here to import this new buffered reader. So then we have new input stream reader. Sorry for that. Sorry for that, guys. A call had to be answered. So I was saying that we have input. So the new input stream reader. We have an input stream, and now we have the body for it. We want to try this. So this one, we need to import it. So we specify string, a variable string line. Then, well, the value of the line is equals to reader dot read line, which is a method. When that value is not equals to null, when it is not equals to null, that means that there are values to read. Then what we expect is that for it to retrieve the string builder dot append line. So read that line, dot append string builder dot append line dot append line builder, line separator, sorry. So it will put whatever the separator is between lines are added there. And then we have that. Then what we wanted to do is after that, we wanted to return the string builder. So return the string builder dot convert it to string. So here, please here, we need to change this. I don't want it to be void. Let us say we return a string. The method, we need to return a string. Assuming you are following that discussion, now we
sorry,
come
sir,
here.
where do we return a string?
Here, return string. Just notice is just before you close the method.
Sir, can you just give 2 minutes, we type the last part?
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. 2 minutes given.
Can you also please scroll up to where you wrote me? Write to internal file, just for 1 second. Not the private void before that, as in on top of it. Okay, you can scroll back down. Thank you.
Dr. Lawrence. Sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Sir, are you there?
Yes, yes. So I was asking whether you are done now with that. Are you done?
Dr. Lawrence,
Yeah.
can you please scroll up? I can't see your screen there up where it has been written try.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to internal file. Just appear there.
So this is where I want us now to go ahead and implement it. So we are saying that string file contents. So we say read from internal file, right? Then we log these details because we would want to log them. So that is try. Let me put it in a way that can be followed. So we now have, we log these details, log.d, and you need to import the util for log. So .d. So first we have the tag, comma. So it will say the name of the class is with this one, and then the class is main activity, and then the message is file contents. The file, the content in the file is equals to. So then it will display what the file contents are. Semicolon. So we have closed the try. Then we catch an exception. The exception is input output exception, EX, into bracket. Then we have EX dot, we print stack that shows the
Sir, I'm getting some errors on my code.
at this point.
Written right to internal file.
Share your screen.
There, I've shared my screen.
Because the name of the method, is that name the same as the name that appears there?
Yeah, I've written the same.
No, it's not.
It's not the same.
Yours is not the same. Yours says write to internal file, the other one is write internal file. Check those two methods, not there. First,
Okay.
I'm talking about try. After that, try statement. What you have, write to internal, that one.
Copy
Look
that
at
one
that word. Copy that one.
and paste it on line 68. Yeah, that one. Copy, paste it there. Yeah.
Even the other one is the same problem. They read from internal file. You've done that below. What you is below? The
So,
method is below.
Oh,
The method is below. This is write to internal file. The one for read from internal file is below. No, so you pasted that. No. Go below, scroll through, scroll down. Now you see this one where you have read. Oh yeah, that one should be the one that is the same name as what you have. So it's supposed to be read from internal file. There is an error. Let me see. String file contents is equals to read from internal tag file contents plus file contents semicolon and catch exception. Let me see up. Go up a bit. Where we defined it, I want to see that up. Oh, okay, those that looks okay. So where is your string or tag main activity? Yeah, so scroll down then. You see where that error is. So where is it that place your cursor where there is that error, where it is underlined in red? You place it there, yes. So it says that you need file output string. File output string. Let me see. If we remove that, just click outside, I see that error. I want to see that code. So you have right throws. Yes, there is no throws exception, is there? Oh yeah, there is throws. Then those brackets. Why are you having after exception? There is that bracket that you have. Those curly brackets after the exception. You see where you have throws? Yeah, that one. Delete those brackets. Yeah. There is also another error. Where is that? You see up. Is that name the same name as what we had?
yeah, it's the same.
It requires current minimum. Oh, the API. the API level. It says that call requires level 19, current minimum is 16. So click on that, click that, Alt, enter, Shift, enter. Click below there. See where it says there, click add requires API that, click that. You click it, you click that Bruni. Yeah, add that. So that now go up. So that now it specifies that it needs that API. Here, go up. Which is the other error that you have? You have another error. Which one? So your brackets, if that they are not balanced or they are. It's okay now?
Yeah. Thank you.
So now, with that example, I want you to run it. And we check the row cut.
So you're running through your phone.
Yes, yes. Through my phone. Yes, yes, yes. So I need to check that. So I want you to check the is not set for both.
So I have run mine. I've even entered details. I've clicked on save. Now I don't know.
You have entered?
I've entered some details. Then I've clicked save. So it came down, details changed.
Yeah, so what you need is now to come here and check whether you have that file here again. So you come to shared preference, and now we need to check whether we have the file. We want to see whether you have the files, under files, sorry, not under shared, under files. So you go to the app and you check for under files.
Yes, there is a folder called files, and there is inside it there is a to-do file.
Yeah, and you're getting it under
file section. Yeah.
When you go to your yes, there must be a file called. Let me check again on my phone. It's under files, right?
Yes, yes. Under data. Data. Then I opened the shared preferences. Data.
Data.
Data again.
Yeah.
Then shared preferences.
Then files. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
files,
This
yeah.
one. Yeah, if you open it, this is where the data is stored. To do file. And you should also be able to see that information being on the log card. Yani, because of this code that we have written, the contents of the file that are contained. Because of this, we should be able to get, because of what we said under ROG here. We should have file contents somewhere. Yeah, here, this one. If you search, you will find them. This one, file content. And that means if we change these details, you should be able to see that happening.
So, excuse me, sir.
Hmm?
Yeah, I'm having an error in my code. Can you just check it?
Yeah, just 1 minute.
So,
Hmm?
on my side, my Gradle is failing.
The grad of area one is the one error that I think maybe, just 1 minute. So you see, this is, it has added and you get that message. And if you go ahead and check again on the device to do file, you should be able to get that is added. So this is now being saved on an internal file. So there it is. So for the guys who have succeeded in running it, as we try to help the guys who have some challenges, I want you to do this. You see the details that we are saving here, this name, phone, and email, these ones here. I want you to save them also in an internal. Here we are saving them under a shared preference. So the email, the name, and such, I want you to save them also as an external file. Save them as an external file, as an internal file, not internal file. So save them as the internal file, these details. The name, the phone, and email. Let me see the guys who are saying they have a problem. Yes, Musin, let us see your problem. You can share your screen.
Yes, hello, sir.
Hmm?
So this here, there's is it within the wrong braces or what? This
At the top, the method says void. At the top, private void, you see?
yes,
Change that to string.
private string.
String is S is capital.
Okay, that
Then just before you go ahead, there's also another error below there. You can see that error.
yes, line.
Yeah, because well, that is, so the statement you have is well, Ryan, you should have well, Ryan, you should have two closing after the question, after the exclamation mark, before the exclamation mark, you should have a closing bracket.
Okay.
Which is the other error?
No, there's no other error. I can run it now.
There is another error. You see there it says there is another error. Press, you see where it says red, where your cursor is below there. Which error is there? Yeah, you see red where it says, you can see the various, just next to emulator, the word emulator. You see where it is next to the word emulator? On your cursor, move your cursor to the right, near the device manager. You see where there's a semicolon missing in that statement. Append, right separator. Yeah, there should be a semicolon. Yeah, then that's okay.
Okay, so I can stop sharing. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Dorcas.
Yes, sir.
You have said you have an error or something.
Yes, I said my gradual is failing.
Let me see why it says the error is. Says that are not supported. Yeah, this is the same issue. So what we need to do is go to the settings. Go to the settings and go to the project settings.
Why I can't hear you, sir?
Just a minute. So yeah, there, and I want you to go to what? To no, not under here. Just leave this. Close this. Close this. Close this. I want you to go to the project structure. You go to project structure, right click where you file, go to file, and then go to project structure. Yes. Then I want you to go under the section on the project structure. Select the project. Can you click on the project? There's a section of modules that I'm looking for. Can you go to the next one? Modules. Click on modules. Yes. Let me see. Up. Select up. And target minimum target SDK. Compile SDK version. Go to the next property default configuration. At the top after properties, the next one. Yeah, click that. Minimum SDK. You see where it's written minimum SDK below? Change that. Select a higher version. It says there, I says that you need a version that is you select like 29. Apply. Can you run it to see? Let us see data 60 running. It failed because it says supports what? There's something that, let me see that message invoke. I want to see that message supported Android minimum Android tools. Can you double click that error? It says that stack customer only supported starting with Android. Okay, so trace stacks are only supported in minimum 16, 26. Can you also go back to where we were again? And then change the minimum SDK version is okay. Scroll through, scroll down. Nakaa kama iko sawa because can you use a higher one? But is it even installed? Because it looks like it's not installed. Just use a privacy. And then you say, okay. If that becomes a problem, if it doesn't work, what you will have to do is you restart. When you are building the app, you build with you specify the minimum SDK needed to be higher because, or you go and remove the. You can comment it out the nini. You see where you are saying that where we are using trace below. The error is coming where we are writing the trace error below. Below your code, scroll your code. Where we have a stack, where we are reporting this stack, and I've said stack. That must have been right number what? Can I see it up a bit? Must have been about somewhere we were talking. Yeah, print stack after. Yeah, this one. This is the one that is saying is a problem. Can you just comment that? Comment that statement. Run it. So I think you will be forced to change the minimum requirement. When we start the project, the way you specify the minimum requirement. So I think we'll be forced to change that. So you can try and redo it using that. Just copy paste the code and try using that because this seems not to be working. Or you,
Okay, sir.
you try to invalidate the cache.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. So I think, so I want you to work on that exercise that I've given you. Save the data, the one that I've shown you as external. So you have like, say, you can do that job within the next 40 minutes. Do that job within the next 40 minutes. Then you will show me what you have.
So I don't understand how to do it.
That's why I've given you a job. I want you to think through. I want you to think through, but the question is, if you're asking what the question is, I've already shown you how to save shared preferences using the name and the key, and we wrote that example here. I showed you that example here by showing the way we save name, phone, and email, and you are able to get them and commit them. This is shared preference. So how about I want you now, the same details. You come here, and you add a way in which the same details will be saved in internal memory. So what we have implemented here, right? What we have implemented here in saving the data into the internal memory, you implement it. You save the data still to the internal memory. Apart from saving it to shared preference, you save it to the internal memory. These data, the name, the phone, and the email. So that when I come to your file, I should be able to see that the files, the to-do file, contains details about these details. Or you could call it any other name. It could be any other name. It doesn't have to be to-do file. It can be any other name. Actually, use another name so that there is no conflict if you're going to use the same example. In fact, I don't want you to use the same example. I want you to create a new project. Create a new project. That project stores these details as shared preference as well as internal file like this one. Okay. So 40 minutes, that means in like at 12:30, 12:30, I want to see that.
So sir, we are creating a new project, right?
A new project, yes, yes.
Okay.